What's up, folks? Well, another day. Not $1 today, though. It was Sunday. I had the day off. Didn't make no dollars. But you know what I did do? I actually didn't get up at 3:30 in the morning. I actually slept in a little bit. Not too bad. Not too bad. I can actually see what all the people who don't contribute to the country, I can see kind of why they love their life so much. Hell, you ain't gotta get up, don't have to go to work. That changes things a little bit, I'm supposing. Waiting around on a check from the government. But anyways, let's get down to business. Let's have us a little talk. I saw a couple things that just absolutely blew my mind. Well, I'm gonna quit. It didn't blow my mind. Nothing actually blows my mind these days. Nothing surprises me. I'm not surprised at all by the left. I'm not surprised at all by the crooked politicians we have in office. And I'm speaking of Democrats and Republicans. Matter of fact, Lindsey Graham is a senator from South Carolina where I live, and I'm actually, right now, everybody's starting to see that he's got two sides to him. You know, he talks well, especially during election time, but when it comes down to actually enforcing or trying to help move the conservative agenda, he's not worth a shit. You never know which side of the fence he's gonna land on. So, getting really disgusted with all our politicians. Like I say, it doesn't matter if it's a Democrat, Republican. They're all pretty much just out for themselves these days. They don't worry about working class Americans and the fact that we, support the whole country. And I'm gonna keep saying that over and over. And I'm gonna keep saying that over and over, that we need to look at our country as our home. We pay all the bills in our home, we pay all the bills in our country. We should never be told what we're gonna do by a crooked, corrupt government of politicians and bureaucrats that, have their own agendas and pet projects and everything else. These guys go into office, sit there for 30 years and become millionaires. That being said, I'm gonna go a little further this time. So one of the things I saw, a video of a young girl, I don't know her age, but this video just confirmed what I've already suspected over, the last 5-10 years, even dealing with members of my family, friends and relatives, people close to me. The generation that is coming, well, so they're kind of grown now these days. I guess they're the millennials, but that generation really worries me. When they take power, I'm concerned. They are so clueless. They have been indoctrinated with all this bullshit, and they believe it to be true, regardless if it is or not. Our president, the presidency itself is under attack. Our president is actually under attack by people who would love to see him dead. Just think about that concept. The video that I saw, a young lady, don't know her age, actually was talking about her friend at the New York Post, whatever, had written an article about Trump's death. He had died the night before of an apparent drug overdose of a new party drug. It was hydrochlorox. I don't know how to pronounce that word. I'm not a doctor. I do something different for a living than that, but it's a hydro word. I'm just gonna go that far. Hydroxychloroquine. Hot damn, maybe I could be a doctor. Hydroxychloroquine. So she says this is a new party drug, and she says that our president, who is a pedophile. When the hell did Trump become a pedophile? On top of everything else in this world, when the hell did he become a pedophile? Now, I know we've got NAMBA. We've got a North American Man-Boy Love Association. Got that. Get it. Okay, I know that we have Jeffrey Epstein and all his Democratic pals, and, you know, maybe even a prince from Britain over here sexually assaulting minors on a private island. I mean, Clinton flew that plane like 26 times or something. I know that. What I don't know and what I've never heard is Trump being a pedophile. Is he a playboy? Yeah. Does he, or has he throughout his life been a womanizer? Yes, he has. And I don't give a shit if he's a womanizer. It comes down to individual responsibility. If a woman puts herself in that position, knowing that a man's a womanizer, sorry, don't shed no tears for you. I'm not going to. If a man puts himself in that position, knowing that a woman's really free with herself, well, hey, bud, you got what you asked for. I don't know what to tell you. Instead, we just start calling people names. It blows my mind. And this is the President of the United States. That's what really blows my mind. That our indoctrinated kids really believe all this stuff. Social media has ruined the kids. I mean, they're really out there. They can't live without a phone in their hand. They are constantly just snap. I mean, every move they make goes on a social media platform. Do you know how ludicrous that is? I tell them all the time, and like I say, dealing with my own child, dealing with nieces, nephews, friends, relatives, I tell them all the time, you don't want to post your entire life on social media for everybody to see. We used to have these things we called, you know, you kept your home private. You don't put all your personal information out there for everybody to see. That is gone, completely gone. This next generation has totally messed that up. I mean, it's not even them. We can't even blame them, okay? The tech industry did what they did when they created this. Like Facebook, for instance, they knew how addictive. They knew you got a dopamine hit every time you got a like, things like that. They knew what it would do to a whole generation of kids. Yet they did it to get rich. They didn't care about the effects. You know, we want to talk about national emergencies and stuff. Well, we got a national emergency when it comes to our youth right now. This is the dumbest generation of kids to ever live. And I hate to say it that way, but I'm just going to say it that way because it's fact. This generation of kids is clueless. They don't know anything about history. They don't know how, they can't even write cursive. I mean, when do we quit teaching cursive in school? I mean, just basic social skills, basic life skills, and these kids do not have a clue. Now, they can tell you anything about how to work Snapchat. Matter of fact, somebody was showing me that earlier today. I don't use Snapchat, Facebook, you know, the rest of that shit, really. But I did get on there to get a filter. But the whole point is, we've got a generation of kids whose minds have been wiped. And right now, in their mind, the leader of the free world is a racist, bigoted pedophile. The United States is a racist, bigoted country. That's what they believe. You can't change their mind. You can't tell them different. I don't know how we got to this point. I'm assuming when we let teachers unions and bureaucrats take over our school system. That's the way it happens, I guess. One thing I can say for sure is if we don't do something different, the next generation of kids will probably be as dumb as this generation of kids. So we should probably be looking at this. I'll play the video for you. You watch it. Then subject number 2, topic number 2. country right now is at risk of exploding. One thing I did definitely see that really just kind of flew all over me, the leader of Black Lives Matter, basically saying that we would burn the country to the ground, or the government to the ground, however he said it, if they don't get their way. When I look at something like that, and I have to actually comprehend that threat and think about it, in my everyday life, if someone was to come at me or threaten a family member or something, the second I considered it a viable threat, I would eliminate that threat. Consequences be damned, I would eliminate that threat. And I sit here and I watch someone, and it's not an individual either. It is an extension of the Democratic Party. And if you can check, all the proceeds that goes there goes to Black Lives Matter. They don't actually go to Black Lives Matter. They go to the Democratic Party. It's an extension of the Democratic Party. So you've got that, and then you've got George Soros' Antifa group. George Soros, being the globalist that he is, would love nothing more than to take down our government and rewrite it as a socialist government. But when you look at this, and you look at these groups, how long before the United States starts seeing them as viable threats? I see them as viable threats right now. Not a lot I can do about it as an individual, and I'm not in no way asking for violence. What I am asking for is Americans to get their head out of their ass, start thinking and organizing and using your brain for yourself. Don't let people threaten you into keeping your mouth shut. Don't let these groups bully you into allowing our country to go down the drain because you're too scared to speak up. If we allow this, not only is the next generation basically doomed, but 2 generations from now, the quality of life for our great grandkids will be shit. They won't be able to earn a living. They might have free college, but the government will tell them where they're going to go to college, what they're going to go to school for, because you're not going to be able to have, everybody's not going to be able to be a doctor. So depending on where you're born at, what social class you're in, will determine if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a government official. For those of us that are not born into that social elite class, yeah, your school might be free. What you going to wind up being? Nothing more than where we are now. You'll be a landscaper. You'll be something of that. You'll be on the bottom, and you won't be able to work hard and elevate yourself beyond that point, because that's where the government will place you. Look at the communist Chinese. Look at the socialist system. Look at, as of right, well, it's a communist system there, but they do have basically what's a social, it's a social system. So what they use is, depending on the score of your social, I can't think of the exact word for it right now, but basically there is a grading system on how society accepts you. And if you do not do everything right, your travel's restricted, what you can purchase is restricted, whether or not you've been vaccinated for certain things determines where you can go, because they say you can't travel here unless you take this vaccination to force you to take the vaccination. We are headed that way in the United States, and I can't say it enough. People are not taking this threat seriously. This is a serious, viable threat to our everyday life, to our Constitution, to our Bill of Rights, to our freedoms. Individual responsibility is gone. That's out the window. Rule of law is teetering. I mean, rule of law is going very quickly. Get up, read, watch some videos, do something. Study for yourself. Don't take my word for the shit. Study for yourself and figure out exactly what's going on around you and where all the moving pieces are. Because right now, the moving pieces start actually above our government. So there's actually donors, and you might as well say some of the super PACs, the donors, the lobbyist groups, those are the ones controlling the politicians. So they control the politicians. The politicians go into office to get rich. They spend 30, 40 years building their banks. What they do at that time is they're bringing down laws to help the lobbyists and help the groups. They don't care about what the laws do to the everyday working class citizen. They don't give a shit. All they want to do is promote the agenda it takes to put them and their family members in power for a very long time. They're sending their kids to Ivy League schools. Well, who gets government jobs? Ivy League educated people, even though they can't run this country worth a damn. As I said before, this is the reason Trump is so hated. He is hated because of the fact, if people start waking up and realizing we don't need 40-year career politicians, they're done. Their program, their system that they have set up over the last 70 years is done. That system is the system that holds everybody back. Doesn't matter your skin color, doesn't matter your sex, your race, your orientation, sexual orientation, nothing. None of that matters. What it does is you're born in one group of people and you have to struggle and fight your way to get every little bit you get, or you're born into their class to where you get an Ivy League education. You never have to actually push and work. As we've seen, people pay their kids through college all the time. It's not something that doesn't happen. As we saw with Hunter Biden, not only did he get kicked out of the Navy for smoking crack, he was actually arrested. He fathered a child that he tried to basically let some just take zero responsibility for. I mean, this is a real piece of shit human being. All right. And what does he do? His father puts him on Air Force 2, I think it was, flies him to China, gets him a $1 million deal, flies him to Ukraine, gets him a $1 million deal. He starts being investigated, and his father basically blackmails the Ukrainians into firing the prosecutor to protect him. And this man is now running for president. Folks, I'll tell you, we got to get our shit together. If we don't, there's a good chance we're going to lose our country. And I also think beyond that, if we don't get our shit together politically and actually go in here and try to do it the right way by using our voices and expressing ourselves, we've got First Amendment protections. We have the right to gather and protest peacefully. There's things that we have that we can use to our advantage. And if we do not start using these things to our advantage, what will eventually happen, these socialists will get control of all three houses. Once that happens, they're going to take every red cent they can from the people who pay the bills in this country, which is the American working class. Once they do that, they're going to put you on that social program to where, depending on what your social score is, it depends on what you can do in life. At that point, they're also going to try to outlaw firearms. And what they're going to do, they're going to do it real smooth. They're going to say, we want to outlaw all these assault weapons. But when you look at what they consider assault weapons, it's a semi-automatic weapon. When you start outlawing semi-automatic weapons, you can refer back to one of my other videos. Lots of guns are semi-automatic weapons. But when they take that away from you, you can't defend yourself. Lastly, they're going to continue to attack religion. You take people's faith away from them. Faith is such a huge factor in life. It's like right now, we've got everything that's going on. We've got the coronavirus. I'm worried, that the country's just going to damn fall apart, or, whatever the hell's going on. But I still have faith. I still know ultimately it's in God's hands. And I still know ultimately, as long as I stand up and I do the right things and I fight the right way, And I'm doing it all for the right reasons. It's in God's hands, and I have faith that God's going to see me through this no matter who tries to do whatever. And I have faith that God is going to reach down and he's going to touch this nation, and he's going to fire it up here and there, and he's going to figure out how to help us get through this as a whole, as a people. I feel like God himself had a huge hand in creating this nation, because this is the greatest country on earth. We are the most accepting people. We're the most generous people. And if you look around the world, we have done more good from the United States in our short time than any other country in history. And we will continue to do that because Americans are amazing people. You know, right now, all our institutions are under attack, but police in particular. Police are amazing individuals. They go out and they put their life on the line and are hated and demonized and everything, and they just keep going back, and they keep doing it because it's who they are as individuals. Matter of fact, on the way home earlier, I seen a state trooper. I mean, it's pouring down rain. We got a severe thunderstorm, and there's somebody stranded on the side of the road, and I see a state trooper out there trying to help this person out and get them out of the rain, get them to safety. He didn't have to do that. It's the way Americans are. Folks, if we stick to the Constitution, we stick to our Bill of Rights, and we start speaking up and standing our ground, we can change things. And whenever I say change things, I'm saying we can get back to a society of people who can accept someone else's opinion without resorting to trying to destroy that person or violence. We can get back to a society where you can practice whatever religion you want without fear of being persecuted. We can get back to a society where you can do whatever you want. At one time, that was the actual way this country was set up. It's not anymore. And like I say, it's got to do with the lobbyists, the politicians, and all that. But I'm not going to ramble anymore tonight. Do what you got to do. You got to search your own heart and decide where you want to see this country go. I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing. Like I said, it's all in God's hands. I'm not gonna just, well, I say it like it is. I'm not gonna get on my knees like everybody else. Fuck that. My daddy instilled way more virtue, way more work ethic, and way more pride in me to get on my knees when I know I'm not in the wrong. I will stand up. I will stand with my head held high, and any viable threat that comes along, I will neutralize it until the day I'm gone. So I'm going to do my best to neutralize the threat that we have right now.
This shared around. A friend of mine who used to be a history teacher now works with the New York Times. If you didn't know, Donald Trump was pronounced dead last night due to a drug overdose, and he tried to report on it. This was the report. You can pause if you want to. But it was immediately deleted. This is just the rough draft that he sent me. News articles are not being allowed to report on this. Why is that? This is a huge censorship issue. The president died, and they're not letting people report on it. It is pretty damn obvious that they don't want us to know that he died of a drug overdose. It's like hydrochlor something that's used to treat malaria, but is also a party drug. Who knew that his massive fucking ego wouldn't follow him to his grave, and people would still be trying to protect his name? He's a pedophile who died of a drug overdose. Share this around because they can't censor all of us.
Well, you saw the video. I'm not gonna ramble anymore. All I'm gonna say is damn.